everybody. Welcome back to Screen Preach for episode 27. It's a new week, September 26th, I think. Yeah, gonna be going in October now already. Fall is here, all that good stuff. In California, we don't really, the season change is not, there's no season change, kind of. It's not really, except for winter, which is a little cooler and more rain. That's it. It's the rest of it's all the same, So yeah, here we are. And as usual, this one, doing it a little differently. I like the quicker one. It's a good way to have more time on Sunday for other things, so I can write on Sundays now too, because so now I record Saturday and I don't touch it. I edit it tomorrow. I'll edit it tomorrow. Sunday's just editing, and editing I can do pretty nicely, pretty smoothly and quickly, and it's good. And it gives me more time Sunday. Yeah, I like this way. So what else is going on here? For me, it's a little bit of movement still. I'm just looking for work every fucking day all week. Trying to fucking get something, because my other job clearly does not need me right now. You gonna hang? Come hang. Come hang. Come on. Come on. Or don't. I don't care. Stay over there. No. Get the frick. Hello. Yeah. Let's get into it. Usual stuff. What have I been watching? I'm still doing Scorsese. Yeah, the dude. I mean, I love every one of his movies, and he's done a lot of movies too. I'm 2 weeks. It's gonna be 3 weeks of Scorsese. If you want to do all his movies, it's 3 weeks. So and I am so. With one movie a night, obviously, you can get it done quicker than that if you're fucking just. But, yeah, and then what's funny is I'm gonna watch I'm gonna watch all Christopher Nolan's movies. And it's gonna suck knowing that when I get to the end of it, I still can't watch Tenet, which it's like I'm gonna watch all his movies and be so in the mood for Tenet, and I still can't. They're not open here. It's still the same shit with the theaters. But yeah, TV wise, I'm watching Archer, and that's pretty much it. Simi Valley finale was last night, so I finished that. Just waiting for Mandalorian, it's the usual here. Still writing, working on my 8th project. It's a crime drama, because that's my fucking specialty, and it's good to get back to it too, because the last one I wrote was not a crime drama. It was just a regular drama with a little bit of I guess, I don't know what you would call it, a post-apocalyptic. What is that? Is that sci-fi? I don't know if that's sci-fi. It's not sci-fi. It's I guess it's almost its own subgenre. That's what the last one was, and it's just much more personal, and it's just about human beings, and it's a drama. There's no crime. I'm going back to the crime. The Austin Film Festival screenwriting competition got back to me and said I didn't make the second cut. But hey, I'm gonna start doing 4 or 5 competitions a year from now on. because you never know what you write what, and I have a bunch of projects. You do. I'll enter this one and this one. I'll enter this one and that one. It's that one and that one. It's one of them. If one of my projects is great enough, it's gonna fucking get to the. We'll see with that. I have a couple more entered in other ones. Yeah, that's it for what I'm watching. So let's get to the news of the week. I wanted to bring this up real quick because I forgot to keep you guys, keep you updated on this. I brought up Aaron Sorkin's latest movie. I think I brought it up. I might not have, but he's doing The Trial of the Chicago 7 as his next movie. He's also directing it. It's the second ever film that he's directing. And it'll be on Netflix. It's Netflix, and it'll be out. The first trailer came out. It'll be out on Netflix. I think October 16th it drops, and go check it out. Some reviews came out already. It looks like it's probably going to be in awards, in the awards contention and shit. So probably a good flick. But in terms of other news, I'm glad that there's movement with Marvel. There is movement with Marvel, and they officially delayed Black Widow to 2021. And along with that, Eternals and Shang-Chi had to get pushed too. So there's new release dates for all three of those movies. The only Marvel property coming out in 2020 now is WandaVision. On Disney Plus, WandaVision is the only thing coming out from Marvel. Falcon and Winter Soldier is now coming out in 2021. And I think it's interesting real quick to talk about that, because what if they had to push Falcon and Winter Soldier, not because of production delays, but because continuity-wise there's some kind of setup in Black Widow, that there's some kind of connection between the two projects, that they couldn't release Falcon and Winter Soldier until Black Widow comes out. It's very possible. It's just something to think about. So yeah, WandaVision is the only thing coming out for Marvel this year, and it'll be the first year since 2009 where there's no Marvel movies. I'll say that again. It's the first year since 2009 without a Marvel movie. That's crazy. Think about it. Every year there has been a Marvel movie since 2000. And in 2009, the only reason there wasn't one was because they released The Incredible Hulk in the same year as Iron Man. If they had put that in 2009, it was Iron Man and Incredible Hulk were in 2008, and then there wasn't a movie until Iron Man 2 in 2010. So that's why 2009, nothing in 2009. And that was the last time. In 2020, no movie, but at least we get something with WandaVision. WandaVision broke some kind of, it's been viewed, the trailer for that came out. That's another thing. The trailer for WandaVision, the official trailer, came out, and a little poster. That trailer got viewed, I think it said, as much times or more than the Infinity War trailer. That's how many views it got. People are pumped for that. There's a lot of potential with that show, because it opens up this whole... It's very mysterious. We don't really understand yet what's going on there. It's going to be really... there's a lot of theories, obviously, that, it's all taking place in Wanda's head, and, there's a million theories about what it is, but multiverse theory, which it's supposed to connect to Doctor Strange in some way, I suppose. I heard that at some point along the line, but I don't know for sure. But yeah... So yeah, that's with Marvel. That's probably... I'll get to the big thing that I heard with Marvel this week in a second. In terms of DC, we have some casting for Black Adam. So the film that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is doing for... I should probably stop calling him Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. That's still how I talk about him. It's just Dwayne Johnson now, right? He's an actor now. It's just Dwayne Johnson, right? You know who I'm talking about. He's playing Black Adam, DC film, and they cast their Hawkman, who's also in the film. So Hawkman will be in Black Adam, and Aldous Hodge is playing Hawkman. It would appear at this point. It's not 100%. I don't know if it's 100% confirmed, but they casted their Hawkman for the Black Adam movie. So there's that. And then I would check out the trailer that dropped for this new series coming out on Hulu. It's called Hellstrom. It's actually a Marvel property. I still don't understand what Hulu has some Marvel rights, and I don't quite get it. But this is a show they're doing. It's a Marvel show they're doing on Hulu. I don't know. I think the Hulu stuff is like how Netflix was when Netflix had Marvel stuff. So it's like sort of connected, but not entirely connected. That's how those work. But it looks interesting. Go check that out. That trailer dropped. And that comes out soon, too. I think October 16th as well. I may be wrong on that date, but I know it's October. So check that out. There's also this is interesting. So Ryan Gosling is set to play a stuntman in a new drama coming out. And it's from the same writer-director who did Deadpool. So that's interesting. That is coming out in a foreseeable future. That's just a little movie news that's interesting about a random, I like to throw in something that's just not big movie, big blockbuster related, obviously. And then I heard they're doing a Suicide Squad spin-off series on HBO Max. HBO Max is trying to really, and they are, they keep coming out. They're doing a lot of shit with their properties. James Gunn's involved too. So James Gunn, director of Guardians of the Galaxy, if you didn't know, he's doing another. So there's another Suicide Squad movie coming out, and it's called The Suicide Squad. So if you remember Suicide Squad, this one's called The Suicide Squad. James Gunn is the writer-director of it. He did Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. He's doing the third one. He's one of the only filmmakers bridging the gap right now between Marvel and DC. He's in both universes. He's doing this show, this spin-off show, with the character John Cena plays in the movie coming out on HBO Max. Peacemaker is the character. So that's interesting. Along with Black Widow getting delayed, the West Side Story remake got delayed that Steven Spielberg is doing. I talked about that on the show. So that got delayed too. I think that was supposed to come out this year, even. It was supposed to be like it was going to be like in potential Oscar contender and everything. It's not anymore. It's coming out next year. The cinematographer Michael Chapman died. Rest in peace. He did a whole bunch of films, Scorsese films too. He did Raging Bull, the cinematographer Raging Bull. He also did the cinematographer for The Fugitive. He passed away, so there's a little something there worth mentioning. The Cassian Andor Disney Plus series, the Star Wars series, it has officially signed a director to do the show, and it's Toby Haynes, who's a Black Mirror director. He is now involved in the Cassian Andor Star Wars series. Some movement there. Other than that, there wasn't a whole bunch. The big thing, the biggest thing that I heard this week was that official, and you could have called this. Anyone could have called this. It makes sense. Why not, right? Samuel L. Jackson is returning to his iconic Nick Fury role, and he always was returning. He's in movies that are coming out. Like he's probably in Captain Marvel 2, maybe. He's still around, but he is getting a Disney Plus TV series of his own. Yes, of course, that's awesome. We totally on board. Of course, the question is, what is it about? Of course, now we want to know: is it about him in the modern day period in continuity, like about him maybe developing Sword is the space version of S.H.I.E.L.D. Is it about that, or is it an origin, which would make it fun with the de-aging? They did really good with the de-aging of him in the Captain Marvel movie. They could do something like that for the series and make it an origin series about Nick Fury. That would be interesting. So what is it about? We will find out in time. But that was the biggest news that I heard this week. And that is our news of the week. So we will get into our analysis of this week. I'm going to talk about a movie called The Tax Collector this week. In the name of the Godfather, the Son of Odin, and the Holy Jedi. The Tax Collector is by David Ayer. David Ayer did the other Suicide Squad movie. He's done a few things you would know, David Ayer. He did Training Day, which is probably his own. Training Day is probably his greatest film that he's done. After that, it's kind of been. I don't want to be mean or anything because art is very. But it's kind of been from there, you know. It's just not a whole lot of great films that he makes, but at the same time, you make what you enjoy watching. He probably enjoys what he makes, and I'm sure he has a fan base that enjoys his stuff anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I'm gonna get into The Tax Collector here, and it's not good. I'll talk about it briefly. Obviously, this new format, it's not a long fucking analysis, breakdown, or review. It's very straightforward, okay? At one point in the film, David, the main character, David says, "I don't want this." Yeah, David, neither did I while I was... So, you know, in terms of the writing of this movie, does it work? The quick answer, no. It did not, at least for me, it did not work. The movies, it's all over the place. It's very messy. It moves too quickly. The pacing's all off for me. Not enough development of the story. Not enough development of the characters. For example, okay, you really want to give this movie a chance because Shia Labeouf is in it, right? And we all heard about this movie. We heard that he, being a method actor, all that shit. We heard that Shia LaBeouf got a tattoo for this movie because his character has a tattoo in the movie. The character's name is Creeper. That's who Shia LaBeouf plays. And he actually got a real tattoo for the movie. But what's funny about it is you don't even see that tattoo. You don't see it, okay? Okay, maybe you see it once and it's at the end when he's... Again, you know the deal when I'm talking about movies, spoilers. But he's kidnapped at the end or whatever. That's probably the only... You do see it, I think, there. But that's it, yo. We're talking about an hour and a half film. And he's in an hour of it. He's not even in the whole thing. It's crazy. All right. So my point here is that the character of Creeper that Shia LaBeouf plays is extremely underutilized. Why is this movie only an hour and a half? That was my first question. If you're gonna do a movie like this with these very extreme characters in a very extreme situation with an interesting idea, but nothing really that new. We've seen these kind of gangster films before. It's why is it only an hour and a half? You add another half hour to this movie. Not that by the time I got an hour into this, I was done with it. But another half hour, you'd have more to work with. Develop the characters more, develop the story more. I just didn't understand why it was so short. It would have been better for everyone. It would have probably, because you'd flesh out the story more. The movie starts well. Okay, I'll say that. I was interested when it first started, but it didn't flesh out anything enough for me to stick with it. Like, for instance, we're supposed to believe that the Wizard, right? They keep talking about the Wizard. He's some scary motherfucker, right? He runs all the crime in the state, right? Yet, it's only David and Creeper and the uncle that are fucking targeted during this whole conflict here. It's these guys that are targeted, and there's no backup. It's just like, if he's this big fucking boss man with his hand in everything. He's like runs the whole fucking. Why are we not seeing more gangsters and more muscle? We don't see any There's no backup. There's no gangsters to help these main characters. It's just them getting attacked. That's it. And it just didn't feel. I didn't feel the gravity or the hold. I didn't feel it. That this organization has over the whole fucking all the crime and stuff. I didn't feel it because it just didn't feel like they were that powerful. It didn't surprise me that this fucking bad guy Conejo is able to do what he does because it just doesn't seem like they're that powerful by what we see and what we get from them. Yeah, it's weird. George Lopez, I will say, he played a pretty convincing gangster. I liked his little role, but it didn't fucking matter. The performances didn't save anything. They didn't save anything. When shit hits the fan, it's David and Creeper getting attacked, and it doesn't make any sense to me. It's why it's only them. I just wasn't buying it. Creeper comes off as a badass, played by Shia Labeouf. Yeah, and yet he doesn't even get to have his badass moment in this movie. Like, you're waiting for that. He seems like he's a fucking crazy motherfucker, and you want to see that moment. It doesn't come. We don't get that moment. When he finally does actually shoot a gun for the first... He shoots a gun, and it's at the end of the sequence when he's captured. So he's not even being the badass that we thought he was. He's being kidnapped by the bad guys and taken away, and you don't feel that he's even that fucking strong of a gangster or anything. He doesn't get that moment, and I didn't appreciate that. And then he's killed off. Spoilers, he's killed off. So all of this hype for Shia LaBeouf's character in this movie, and he's killed off with a whole fucking half hour left in the movie after he's killed. And so basically Shia got a tattoo for playing a character in 1 hour of a fucking movie. Then there's the problem with the third act, flashbacks. For some reason, Ayer kept using flashbacks, these little tiny moments, to show us things that are happening at the same time as everything else. It's not like he's going back 5 years to show us something important. It's all shit that's happening in the same timeline. Just show those things linearly. It didn't make sense to me to have the flashbacks the way he did. It got annoying for me, When it comes to actually finding the plot points, that also wasn't that easy. I guess there's the inciting action, we see the family business, right? True start, the threat emerges, reversal, uncle's killed, down and out, creeper's killed, crisis moment, wife is killed. It's just like a lot of... Climax is the revenge storyline that I didn't care for. Kind of came out of nowhere for me. Like, it's just like everybody he loves is killed, and then he's like, fuck, I need to kill this guy. It's like you should have killed him right away. Like, he was clearly a threat. To make matters worse, there's a final twist at the very end that I saw coming. I saw that coming. I was saying to myself, please don't reveal this, because then it would really make the other narrative problems not work for me. So at the end, they reveal that David's father. The second that they revealed that David's father's alive and well and around somewhere, I was like, okay, is it the wizard is his father? That's what they're gonna get to, and lo and behold, the wizard is his father, right? Therefore, what the fuck was he doing the whole movie? He's literally supposed to have an army of gangsters, right? And where are they? They don't come. His son, his brother, his daughter, his grandson, they're all being hunted down by this one guy with a few fucking guys around him. And he's just sitting around, watching it play out? I just didn't buy it, man. I just didn't buy it. Whatever. It's like, does he not care about his family? For a movie with the main theme of this movie is family, right? And yet at the end of the day, the wizard he does not fit into that at all. Because where is he and what's he doing about this? Whatever. Not to mention, the other family members, they pop in and out of the story like ineffectively. Like the sister, the uncle, the uncle's killed and the sister doesn't react to it because we don't get her reaction to it. Like, it's just, there's no development. I don't know. I don't know. Overall, it's just a mess. It started out okay, but I didn't buy things. I didn't buy why the Bloods wanted to help David so much at the end, just because he did one nice thing for them. They're gonna go to war for him and die for him. I didn't buy that. I also, unfortunately, didn't buy Shia playing a Hispanic character. I couldn't seem to fully invest in that illusion. At the end of the day, it just turns into a gore fest with killing. I became numb to it, drowned out all potential story. Direction. In terms of direction, I don't really know if there's anything to mention. It's a million things that are not, that are normal fucking... I guess the shootout when Creeper's captured there were some nice slow motion shots. That's really it. That's it. Performance-wise, I don't even know if there's anything to point out. I guess Bobby Soto playing David, the main character, was pretty decent, right? I don't know. It wasn't convincing. Anyway, at the end of the day, I have to thank movies like this because they show me what not to do when I'm working on something. And I love crime dramas, so it's interesting to see when filmmakers botch a story in that genre. Like, it's very important to see why this wasn't good, what to not do. So yeah. Overall, my rating of this movie, I give it a 5.5 out of 10. It was weak. That's the word I'm using. It was weak. I wouldn't even recommend it, really. Like, you can skip it, is how I feel. I'm never going to watch it again, and you can skip it. And that's coming from me, and I'm very lenient with movies. I like a lot of movies. I like a lot more movies than I don't like movies. So it didn't do it for me at the end of the day. It's time for our fun fact of the week. Been watching a lot of Scorsese, so I figured I'd do this week on one of his movies. Raging Bull is very interesting to me. There's a lot with that movie that's I just find fun about it, the production of it and everything. So did you know, when it comes to Raging Bull, like right off the bat, it's filmed in black and white, and you wonder, why is it filmed in black and white? I think his reasoning behind that is very interesting. So, the color in films back then decayed over time. So for Marty, it was less of a hassle to film it in black and white, but also it added an authenticity element to it. For people who watched boxing in the Jake LaMotta generations, it was only in black and white. Watching Madison Square Garden fights, like on their new 1950s TV sets, that boxing was the quintessential black and white sport, so it made sense. I thought that was great. Other than that, I thought I'd talk about Joe Pesci real quick, because this movie actually kicked off his career. This was the big movie that kicked off Joe Pesci's career. It was the first big thing that he was in. He would go on to be in a bunch of Scorsese classics, right? Including last year's The Irishman. So Pesci, it's funny too, because it's a fun story. Pesci was running an Italian restaurant after quitting acting some years earlier. De Niro saw the one film Pesci did and liked him so much he pitched casting him to Scorsese. They both approached him at the restaurant that he owned and worked at, and offered him the part of Joey LaMotta. And more than that, Frank Vincent, who would go on to play gangsters in so many great movies, Scorsese movies, he played in Sopranos. He played Phil Leotardo. He was Joe Pesci's best friend and acting partner in the 70s. And Pesci pitched casting Vincent to Scorsese. So Raging Bull was Vincent's first film, Frank Vincent's first film as well. And the history between Pesci and Vincent is interesting, considering that their characters always seem to trade off killing each other in every movie. In Goodfellas, Tommy kills Billy Bats. Pesci kills Frank Vincent, right? Casino, Frankie kills Nicky. In reverse, Frank gets to kill Joe. And their character riff all started in Raging Bull, with them having fucking problems with each other in this movie. So it's interesting to see the progression of their character relationships throughout the Scorsese movies that they're in. I thought that was very interesting. There's a lot of facts about Raging Bull, but those are some of my favorite. And our question of the week. So real quick, last week's question was about if you could have any superpower, what would it be? The polls for that, and I try to use IMDb. Most people said they'd want to have the power to time travel. That's what most people picked. Time traveling. That's very interesting, considering I would be worried about time traveling and like fucking with like time space continuum and bullshit like that. But that's what most people in this particular poll picked. And of course, underneath time traveling, you'd be surprised, especially in this day and age with Marvel films. A lot of people thought more about what they'd actually want. Number 2 is super magic, like Doctor Strange. That's number 2, and then flying, like super. Obviously, I said flying would be what people. But here, I said Wolverine's powers, and that's actually number 4. That's after the first 3 that most people, the 4th most people said they'd want Wolverine's powers too. So that's interesting. This week's question of the week is pretty simple. What is your favorite HBO drama series? So that's HBO only, and it's drama series only, so you can't pick Curb Your Enthusiasm or Entourage or shit like that. It's what is your favorite HBO drama series? For me, it's obvious because it's also my favorite show of all time, and that's The Sopranos. If I wasn't going to pick The Sopranos, I'd probably pick Game of Thrones. It's one or the other. What is your favorite HBO drama series? It is time for the movie quote of the week. This is an oldie, but it's such a great fucking scene. Such a great beat that I had to do it. And if you get it, you get a lot of points with me. Alright? It wasn't him, Charlie. It was you. Remember that night in the garden? You came down to my dressing room. You said, "Kid, this ain't your night. We're going for the price on Wilson." You remember that? This ain't your night. My night. I could have taken Wilson apart. So what happens? He gets the title shot outdoors in a ballpark, and what do I get? A one-way ticket to Palookaville. You was my brother, Charlie. You should have looked out for me a little bit. You should have taken care of me just a little bit so I wouldn't have to take them dives for the short-end money. I had some bet down for you. You saw some money. You don't understand. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. Could have been somebody. Instead of a bum. Which is what I am, let's face it. It was you, Charlie. Nailed it again. Name that movie. This week on Caught My Attention. I really couldn't, I didn't, like, it's just random. This segment it's anything random I see, you know? It's anything random. I didn't really see a whole bunch of shit. I was reading news and I came across. So how about this? So Governor Newsom of California, he wants to disband all gas-powered vehicles by 2035. Going for the electric cars out here. It makes sense, obviously. There's a whole smog problem. It makes sense. It's just going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. Yeah. Other than that, I don't know, really. Gale Sayers died, the great Chicago Bears running back, so rest in peace to him. And that is it. That is it. I am your host, Ben Morganti. Follow me personally at the Ben Morganti. Follow the show at Screen Preach. Check out my website, benmorgantistory.com. You can find the episodes wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Subscribe to BMS Studios on YouTube for episodes of the show and other content that I put out. And if you really want to support the show, become a patron at Patreon. Other than that, you know the deal. Have a cinematic week.